Dear friends, last week we heard testimonies from 3 of our parishioners on what stewardship has done in their lives. And I think it's really important for us to listen to one another. That's what the Synod is all about in many ways, isn't it? That we listen to different voices in the church. Another reason why I think it's important that we hear from one another is that in many ways, when I speak of stewardship and what we need to do to build up the church and to make our community vibrant and to reach out to others, many people switch off, I think, because, Father has to say that. And Father's got nothing else to do anyway. It's his job. And perhaps there's real valid criticism to those thoughts and ideas. Because yes, my life is the church. I don't have to juggle that with children, with traffic in the morning and in the evening, with sorting out all sorts of things with work and school and holidays and family and friends. It is easier for me. And so I think it's good for us to hear from people who do have to do those things and to hear how they do that. So I think last week was really powerful. And I'd like us to continue that this week and listen to 2 members of the PPC. So I invite them up, and hopefully we've got some chairs to sit on again. There you go. See, I just say, boop, and there the chairs come. Thanks, Ayanda. Just open it up a little bit so they don't have their backs to the people. There you go. So we can see them. Right. So this is Rachel and Craig. Do you want to explain, Rachel, a little bit about how you came to the PPC and what you do on the PPC?
Okay. I've been in this faith family for over 10 years now. My journey started when I met Father Des in Windermere Center. He asked me to be part of the Life Teen core group. And obviously I said yes. So that's how my spiritual journey did begin in the different ministries. And there is so many ministries that I am part of. I can count it on. but that's been a wonderful experience. And Alicia and I are on the PPC representing the different ministries that fall under the community and fellowship banner. So on the PPC, Father, we try to do the best that we can with the different people that we've got on there. We've got a wonderful bunch of members that obviously we try to do our best with trying to promote and making sure that whatever we do is to the service of St. Joseph's. And Father, That's growing good. And learning.
Yeah, of course. Do you want to pass to Craig? Craig, explain who you are on the PPC and how you got there too.
Yeah, morning, Father.
Morning.
It's bright and early to start on a Sunday morning,
early,
eh? But anyway...
Is your brain not started working yet?
Yeah, just before the coffee, eh?
Coffee, yeah.
But like you say, we always get out of our comfort zones, which this leads us out from. And I've been a member of the parish for a long time. It's really quite a while. My 2 youngest babies were actually baptized here now. Okay. They're quite much older as well.
They're big, strapping guys now, yeah.
But apart from that as well, like I said, I always sit on the side of the pews, But for some reason, when I went and we were having the elections for the PPC, I ended up sitting on the side of
don't say that, because they'll never move out of their position. They'll only stay there.
No, true. And I ended up sitting next to Linton on this side. And Linton said to me, Craig, I'm putting your name down for this. And I said, Linton, are you serious? He says, no, I think this is what I want to do. It's a calling of the Holy Spirit, So I said, okay, I'm going to give it a try. Let's go for it. And it's about 4 years ago now. You know, I did the first term of the PPC. And then in my last year, well, you spoke to me about the chairperson. So I'm now the chairperson of the new PPC, which I think is such a learning experience, and it's sharing. But I think the most important thing about it is I've got such a strong team with me. We're not a big team, but they're really dynamic and powerful. And each and every one of them are there to partake and share and help wherever it is, you know. It's amazing what they actually do, but they're enthusiastic. It's a call away from anything. It's behind the scenes that actually happens.
Yeah.
Because I think the formation that you've created, and I think thanks to Teresa and yourself for creating this new format of the ministries and how we're doing our structure at the moment, it's incredible. It's actually working very well.
So we restructured how the PPC works here in the parish to try and release the burden on a few individuals. So the new structure gets more people involved and gives them leadership responsibility. It also grows this idea that we have here at St. Joseph's that we lead out of a team. I'm not the leader boss. I am a leader in a team, and they're part of a team, and there are teams all over. And I think it's working reasonably well. It's a learning process for us, and I think it is going well. But I think that's the crux of where stewardship plays a role. Everybody can contribute something to at least one team. We've all gifted enough to contribute to something. And I think the more we see ourselves as a team, that we are all members of a team, we can really achieve incredible things.
Yes.
Huh?
We have about 29 ministries, I think it is.
Yeah.
So the interaction of the family, which builds the church, of the body of this church, is from there.
Yeah.
So each and every person, I encourage them to join somewhere in basically a ministry, you know, be it the prayer warriors, Alpha, Divine Renovation, which is basically from maintenance to mission to where we are. We have a vast range of things to join.
I think what you mentioned there, Craig, is really important. This idea of growing, you know, it's little steps. We're not going to achieve everything overnight. But if we just contribute a little bit, so if you've never been involved in a ministry, to try one ministry.
Yes,
huh?
yes.
I mean, when I got here, what I think stewardship was at about 35%, I think. We now, for financial stewardship, we're about 55%. And for the other ministries and service, we're much higher. So overall, we have a stewardship percentage of about 70 plus, which is good for a parish.
Yes.
It really is good. But how do you think we can step it up? How do you think we can grow it a little bit more?
Well, Father, you know, the most important thing is that we feel at home. This is our spiritual home. And apart from this, it's a big, bad, evil world out there. You need to be, the fountain of energy comes from here. So this is what we're here for, and that's what it's about. It's our spiritual journey that we all together we talk about the Holy Spirit in the Synod as well. So in the Synod, it talks about all of us being under the same tent. And under that tent, which keeps the tent down, is the pegs, which is basically the sacraments of our church. And only the Catholic Church has this, whereby it actually holds us and binds us together. And us as a family together, we are there. And we're not leaving anybody behind. It's not about I'm better than you or anybody else. We're all equal in this together. And that's what it's about. And that's our journey. And that's what our vision, and I think it is, of the parish. Like even our sign says, we're blessed, we belong, we feel at home here. And we want everybody to feel like that. So that's what it's about. We want to share this with you. And if we can reach out to anybody at all, at any given stage, we try to help you and go out the extra mile, you know.
Rachel, what do you think about encouraging others to get involved? How do we do that? How do we make sure that everybody, as Craig says, as the Synod says, that everybody belongs, that everybody has a home here, and everybody has a responsibility? The Pope calls it a co-responsibility. How do you think we develop that sense of co-responsibility?
Father, just taking from what Craig said, like when anybody asks me which parish I go to, I don't say I go to St. Joseph's in Morningside. I say I am part of St. Joseph's in Morningside.
Good, eh?
And because I feel that. I mean, when I first came here, I also just sat at Mass. And then that first step that I took to be part of Life Teen, and I've been involved in so many ministries. So that's why I am part of the family of St. Joseph's. And I want everybody to experience that. As in your own families, you've got different personalities. You've got some children that don't want to be...
Don't want to do anything.
Don't want to do anything. But like that's what I said, but it takes different members of that family to go and call that teenager out of the room, come join us for supper, or sit and talk to us. So it's the same here as well, because if you're part of a family, in your own family, this is your spiritual family. And you have to be involved to be part of your family. In your own homes,
Yeah.
the wife is doing something, the husband is doing something, the children are doing something. So here, it's exactly the same. Like with me, I am so blessed in the fact that my husband is part of my spiritual journey as well. So we both of us experience the same things. And it's good that he encourages me in the ministries that I am in. I encourage him in the ministries that he is in. And I would love for everybody to experience that.
Yeah. I think you, by speaking about the parish families similar to our own families, and that sense of growing, I think stewardship, being involved in ministries, helps us to grow. And so we don't remain children. We don't remain teenagers. The more we get involved, the more we experience what this faith family is, the more we grow and develop and deepen our faith lives. Yeah?
And Father, like as parents especially, we need to be an example to our children. Because we're not going to be here forever, unfortunately. So
oh no, unfortunately.
So they are the next generation. And once we're gone, who is left here to grow the parish of St. Joseph's? And some kids do go away, and some kids stay. So this is a legacy that we need to leave for them.
Yeah. Brilliant, guys. Thanks so much for coming up. Let's give them a round of applause. Well done. They were nervous, but I think they did a great job, just like last week, so thanks very much. Dear friends, those readings for this Sunday are quite challenging, in fact, very challenging. What those readings acknowledge is the fact that in every community, including the church, there will be disagreement, there will be some measure of upset, and some sense of frustration with one another. I think that's important for us to recognize, that no matter how vibrant and joyful, how spirit-filled a community may be, there is always the possibility of tensions and misunderstandings. It has to be like that, eh? I mean, in a worldwide church of 1.8 billion Catholics, we can't all possibly think the same thing. Even in this community, we can't all possibly think the same thing. You will disagree with me, most probably quite often, and I will disagree with you. It's the nature of community. But we hear in Matthew's gospel how we are to deal with those disagreements, those misunderstandings. And the recipe Jesus gives us is based on love, based on an openness to others, a willingness to listen to the different perspectives of others. And that's what we're trying to do in this parish. That's what the Pope is trying to do by focusing on synodality, journeying together, listening to one another. Yeah, we may not always agree. That's okay. But are we listening to one another? Over these last weeks of our Stewardship Month, we've been trying to listen to one another by having different people come up here and to share their experiences of life in this community. How they have grown and how they have been challenged by God, and how their spiritual lives have been deepened because of their encounter through ministry and through service. And so you've listened to others. We've listened to others. You've not just listened to boring old, well, not so old, but boring Father Brett. And I think that's really important. And today we're going to listen to Melanie. So I invite Melanie up. Melanie will introduce herself and tell you a little bit about herself. So I won't spoil the surprise. Thanks, Melanie. Right, so introduce yourselves. Tell your brothers and sisters who you are and what you do and that sort of thing for the parish.
We will be here all day.
Oh dear, no, don't then.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
My name is Melanie, and I've been a part of the St. Joseph's Faith family for many years. I've served in many ministries, and more recently, a part of the senior leadership team. So the senior leadership team supports Father Brett, and that has been a great joy in terms of learning and growing and sharing. And that's what we do for you, and that's who I am on the committee. So together with Teresa de Quintal, who was our former PPC chair, together with Anton Maingard, Greg Poole, and Lloyd Paul, we all serve on the senior leadership team as a committee that supports Father Brett. And maybe I can explain what that committee does. We look at the organizational structure, the strategic development of the parish as a living, working organization. So we work behind the scenes, supporting the office staff, the comms team, in terms of their direction and how best we can offer you the best support in terms of reaching and providing your gifts and your treasures and your talents to the service of God.
Great. And I think that's really important for you to know that I don't do this by myself. It's impossible. Just look at all of you. I can't possibly pastor effectively and well a parish of this size. And what's more, I shouldn't do that. We should be working as a team. And there are various teams here, but this team that Melanie speaks of is really, really important, I think, for us as a parish, because it's changed our idea. That generally has been the sense of the Catholic Church, The Pope at the top and the rest of us, the clergy, and then the laity at the bottom, And now, and even in a parish, that was the perspective. And now we're sort of changing the culture, and we're flipping it upside down, and so there are people that support one another. And so what Melanie's saying is that the SLT and the PPC and the Finance Committee, those are all people that help me to support you, to support ministries, and to get people involved and active. And so that's a whole cultural change, isn't it? How do you think we're doing with that?
I think we're doing a fantastic job. We can feel the gees when we walk into St. Joseph's. We have familiar faces and we know each other's names. So I think we're doing a fantastic job. We're living up to our vision statement of being spirit-filled, inviting stewards to our brothers and sisters. So I think we're doing a great job. There's always an opportunity to grow.
Yeah, there is always, yeah. And I think that is why we have stewardship every year. Because A, the parish is growing and there are new people coming in. But all of us, as we heard last week, all of us sometimes need a little push, a reminder to be involved, to participate, to get to know one another, to grow gifts and talents that God has given us. So you've listened to some of the stories of your brothers and sisters over these weeks. What struck you personally about their stories and their testimonies?
Personally, I have recognized that all of those that had an opportunity to share, they had accepted, they said yes, they identified one person that had the opportunity to call them to ministry. So I think that was phenomenal for me. I think myself as well, there are a few key people in the parish that have assisted me along with my journey. Yeah. So that is literally accepting the invitation to serve, to partake in ministry.
Yeah. I think Melanie raises a very, very interesting point, and that's why we have things like Name Tag Sunday. That's why I keep encouraging you to get to know one another, to get to learn each other's names, to speak to each other, to stop before you leave the property and just say hello. Our faith is passed on personally. The church doesn't give us faith. The church doesn't do that for us. It's individual Christians who do that for us. I think of my own life. My grandmother, a powerful influence for me being here today as a priest. My mother, some priests that I've known. Not the church. Not a parish, but individuals. And so how we interact with one another, we don't know what kind of influence, what kind of impact we can have on the faith, on the spiritual lives of people. We may never know what those are. We may be completely oblivious. But just saying, hello, my name is Brett, welcome to St. Joseph's, you just don't know what kind of impact that may have on somebody. Not only now, but into eternity. So we belong to the Divine Renovation Network. We're a hub parish for Alpha. We've done a lot of work with the Synod that's coming up. How's that impacted you personally, and how do you think this parish has changed because of that?
It's so exciting belonging to a global network. I think for me personally, I've grown. I am a leader in my personal life, in my professional life. I offer that same talent here in my church life. So I have grown, and I've learned quite a bit from the resources that are available. And I'm also able to share that with people that I meet. So I think we're doing a fantastic job. I think we need to protect what we have built here at St. Joseph's. I think we need to share what we have accomplished. And I look forward to everybody taking part in all the activities that we have. Looking back at our newsletter, we had a bumper month of August. So there's ample opportunity for everybody to experience God's love in everything that we do.
Yeah. I think, again, Melanie raises a very important point. Yes, we belong to all this group of parishes around the world, doing incredible things of transforming their communities. And we learn from them. We get their gifts and talents. But we also contribute. We also become a resource and a help to others. And that's what stewardship is about. Not only individually, you giving to the parish your time, your talents, your treasures, but we as a parish reaching out to others, helping others within our archdiocese. And that's incredibly impactful, and that is happening. Craig, our PPC chairperson, was asked by St. Anne's to come and speak at their masses for stewardship, because they want to learn from what we do here. That's stewardship. That's what's happening. The more we give, the greater impact we have. And that's so encouraging and so positive. Your vision for the next 10 years, where do you want to see St. Joseph's? I will be long gone, most probably, in 10 years' time.
I mentioned earlier Father Malusi will be back.
Father Malusi will be back. Well, you know, I just warn you, bishops, it's very difficult to guess what a bishop is going to do. So, yes, but let's hope he's back, yes.
My vision for St. Joseph's Father Brett is that, like we said earlier, is to share what we've learned. And I think what we have built here would be a tremendous help to the Archdiocese of Durban. So encouraging the deacon to also come back and spend some time with us and to learn how it is to grow a faith community in a structured manner. We have learned from each other, and we have grown with each other. So I think that's important, and we're able to share that with the world. So thank you for putting us also on the spot, pushing the boundaries. We don't always agree with Father Brett.
No, I don't. And I don't always agree with you.
But it has been a fantastic journey.
And there's lots for us to continue doing. And the invitation each September, each stewardship month, is for you to get involved. That you can be part of this wonderful transformation of the church. This looking out to change other people's lives. Each September, every one of you are invited to participate. To not just sit and watch it happen, but to be responsible for it happening. So I thank all of you, and I thank you too, Melanie, for coming up here. Let's give Melanie a round of applause. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. We are a faith community gathered around the Lord. And so let us stand and profess our faith in this God.